Mm. How's it going, everybody? YouTube Live. This is yours truly, Rama Screen, covering movies, TV, and entertainment. I know that many of you are probably not watching at the moment because you are in the theaters checking out the big new movie that's opening this weekend, Avengers Endgame. Opens tonight, actually. So I'm sure many of you are inside the theaters right now, watching probably like the first hour of the 3 hours of this 3 hour movie. But if you have seen my review, you will know that Avengers Endgame is worth the ticket money. It is as epic as it gets. So I don't mind that you guys are not be able to tune in right now, but hopefully you guys can check out this review when you get back from the theater, because this is regarding Netflix new psychological horror series called Chambers, and it's premiering tonight, midnight, April 26th on Netflix, only on Netflix. So I want to thank Netflix for granting me the screener of the entire season. There are 10 episodes, and I want to give you my thoughts, my review of it. And this one will be non spoilers. I'm gonna be giving you the context as to the plot synopsis and what the story is about, and some details about the characters, but I will withhold any information regarding the big reveal or the secrets or the spoilers or any details like that. Um, those things you will have to find out for yourselves when you watch the series, starting midnight tonight. So yeah, this is a non-spoiler video review of Chamber Season 1. Okay, let me give you the synopsis here and also the cast members. Uh, the series is starring Uma Thurman, Oscar nominee Uma Thurman from Pulp Fiction. Tony Goldwyn, one of my favorite actors, because he co-starred in one of my favorite films of all time, Ghost. Remember that Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore? Tony Goldwyn played the villain. And Chambers also stars Sivan. I hope I pronounced this name correctly. I apologize if I didn't. Sivan Alira Rose, Sivan, uh, or Sivan Alira Rose, and Lilia Reed, Nicholas Galitzin, um, Kiana Simone Simpson. Now that's much easier to pronounce. Lily Kay, Sarah Mazzanotti, and Griffin Powell-Arcand. All right, so the story, okay, the series is created by Leah Rachel and executive produced by Leah Rachel and Alfonso Gomez Rejon. And the lead star, Savan Alira Rose, plays this young woman who is a heart attack survivor. Her name is Sasha, and she has things going for her. She has a boyfriend that really cares about her. And on the night when she's about to lose her virginity to him, her heart starts beating really, really fast, and she goes into heart attack. And and during the course of that evening, she has to get transplant. And so what happens next, or what transpires next, is that she gets that transplant from a, a woman, a girl, also a teenager like her, who recently died, but her heart just still was salvageable. So that heart is now belong that heart now belongs to Sasha, and that results in this where in the situation where Sasha's family now gets to know the family of that girl whose heart now is in her body. And that family's name is Lefevre, and they come from an upper class, very, very rich, wealthy family, white family, whereas Sasha's family is from the reservation. The story is set in Arizona, and Sasha is a Native American, and so is her family. And the uncle that she lives in, she lives with her uncle. Um, and so they, with Lefevre, they have this connection, which is that heart. And as days and months go by. Lefevre tries to kind of give gifts to Sasha in a way, because hey, you have our daughter's heart now, the Lefevre couple. So like, so we want to give you scholarship, we want to put you in a better school, um because Sasha goes to a school in the reservation, and it's like, hey, you have better prospect for college if you go to Crystal Valley School, this high toity upper class, very sleek school, right? Public school, not public school, private school probably. So that's one of the gifts that they also gave. They also give her a car, a Prius. Holy crap! So, um, and this relationship between the two families, they're not always smooth. Um, because Sasha's family kind of, they're suspicious of like, okay, what's their actual intent here? Why are they giving us these gifts? Um, but Sasha, of course, being a teenager, is like, hey, I'd love to, hell yeah, I'd drive a Prius. So, and as the days and months go by, weeks and months go by, Sasha feels something strange going on in her, like physically, like, and also spiritually, supernaturally, because she starts having visions and dreams that are not hers. And turns out that those dreams, those visions, are Becky's. Becky is the name of the Lefevre's daughter, the woman whose heart now belongs to Sasha. So it's like, hey, I don't have these memories. These are Becky's memories, but why do I have them? Why do I keep revisiting them in my head? And so the story progresses from that point to a much more sinister place, as you go, through each episode. Now, I'm going to leave the synopsis at that and the context at that. If I go further, then that would go into spoiler territory, and this is a non-spoiler review. So here's the thing that I want to start with, as far as my review goes. I think it's awesome that the stories or these shows emphasis on Native Americans and reservation. I think the way they handle it is very respectful, and it's not in a way that turns you off. Like, it's not the show is not like a whole 10 episodes of, hey, this is what the tribes do, or this is what the tribes eat. You'll see some of their, not rituals, but some of their customs. There you go, customs, especially with regards to Sasha's boyfriend's rite of passage. You'll see some of that, but it never goes to the point where it kind of beats you in the head with it. But it never shies away from it either. So I think the show does a pretty good job of portraying Native Americans in a good light, in a dramatic, light that fits the story at hand. Um, and the whole Native American thing doesn't actually really. Well, it kind of does play a factor in the whole revelation of the supernatural aspect of the film, to a certain extent, but it doesn't. It's not the whole main point. It's not like one of those horror movies where, oh my god, the house is haunted because the house is built upon what used to be an ancient Indian burial ground. It's nothing like that. You see where I'm getting at? Or like, oh, that used to be Native American, or the ghosts come is because the supernatural curse from the Native American so and so. So it's not actually that. They don't treat it, the Native American aspect, in that manner. So I like Chambers for that reason. And Reaction Live 21 says, when are you gonna? Clearly, Reaction Live 21, you haven't seen the latest videos on my channel. So go to the review categories. I've already posted my review of Avengers Endgame to yeah, Tuesday, 2 days ago. So Tuesday at 3 p.m. So go check it out. It's a non-spoiler review, and then on Saturday night, I'll be back and I'll be back to discuss the spoilers of Avengers Endgame once everybody and their grandma has seen the movie in theaters. Because by then, everybody, including you, probably have seen the movie. So Reaction Live 21, go check it out. My review's already up online. It's on this channel. Go find it there under the review section. Okay. So that's number one. The way the show handles the Native American aspect is very respectful, very solid, um, and it's to a certain extent that doesn't fall into the stereotype of horror movies and Native American um, incorporation of that into that horror story. So okay, so that's number one. Number two, let's talk about the performances. I like this lead actress. Again, I apologize if I am butchering her name incorrectly. Savan, I want to say Savan, Alira Rose, who plays Sasha. She is fantastic. She used to be a model, apparently. I looked her up. Okay, so she's a teen model. That's how she got discovered, and now she's an actress. And what you need to understand about her character, Sasha, is she's a teenager who is your typical teenager. We've all been there. When we were teenagers, we're angry at the world. We're angry about the littlest things. We're like, um, we start to have teen dramas, right, in our school, and we bring it home sometimes. And they're like, oh, mom, dad, we put on our headphones. We don't want to listen to. Well, she doesn't really get to that point, but she does have her moments where it it gets you, the audience, to pull your hair from time to time. It's like, oh, why doesn't she listen to her uncle? Why doesn't she behave? And the explanation for that is she's a teenager. that's how unfortunately most teenagers would behave or react that way. And I think um, the ways actress Savannah Lira Rose plays it is spot on, and she plays it really well. And there are some revelations throughout the show, the season one, that will make you say, "Hey, I guess her anger is valid. I guess her anger is justified because there's this truth that had been kept from her all these years, and now she finds out, and she gets even more angry than she already is because she's a teenager and all. So uh, when that happens, when that revelation does come, you're like, I can kind of side with her being angry. um, but also not just the anger part, but Sasha, after she gets these visions and dreams that Becky has, you can tell that she is spiraling down into paranoia and fear and just absolute frustration. Like, I don't want to have these things in my head. And oh my God. And so Savan's acting through the evolution of that character is so effortless. What a great role for Savan Alira Rose. I think the casting is just perfect. Also, the supporting characters too. Um, they're right for their respective characters. Um, and I love how it's like they actually cast Native American actors for the roles. Not I don't know, not mixed race or not somebody who looks Native American. I don't want to dog on Warrior because I love Cinemax series Warrior, but for example, that's one example. The story is set in Chinatown, but the lead character is a British of Japanese character, so he's not necessarily Chinese. Just like in Fresh Off the Boat, Randall Park is actually Korean. So it's not one of those cases. Now, I don't want to dog on Fresh Off the Boat and Warrior because I think, as I mentioned before, as long as the actor looks the part and as long as the actor can pull off the part, that's what matters to me. But in the case of Chambers, they actually go all out of their way. They go out of their way to actually cast actual Native American actors such as Savannah Elira Rose and Griffin Powell-Arcand. Yeah, Griffin Powell-Arcand, who plays her boyfriend TJ. So yeah, so Savannah, great actress. Now Uma Thurman in this one, the way she performs, for the better part of at least the first 5 episodes of season 1, she is mostly, through the duration of those 5 episodes, even beyond those 5 episodes, she is mostly a grieving mother. So many times, many of the scenes will show her crying, wailing, or having difficulties coming to terms with the fact that her daughter is gone. So a lot of tear shed moments for Uma Thurman, and I can only imagine that that must be quite an emotionally exhausting role for her, because she always has to find herself like, as a character, like not just like shedding tears, but like really in pain over the loss, and that happens quite frequently. And like a tortured soul. Another actress who can play that really really well is Naomi Watts. I don't know if you've noticed, but Naomi Watts is, many of the gigs that she signs on to in the movies, oftentimes she plays tortured characters, this damaged, tortured souls, really heavy dramas, right? Like The Impossible, and what else? 21 Grams, or I think there's another one. So that's another actress that's an example. But in this one, Uma Thurman does it for this series, where she's really, that must be really heavy on her to exert all that for every scene, for every episode. But that's what she does in this Chamber series, and I think she does a fantastic job of doing it. Whereas Tony Goldwyn, his character is a guy who seems like the nice father whose heart is in the right place, but you kind of, as an audience, you kind of get a sense like, oh man, this guy is too good to be true. He seems so cool and considerate and understanding. That's too good to. There's got to be something shady behind that. So I'm not gonna say what that is, or I'm not gonna say whether or not it's true, but that's the impression that you will get about Tony Goldwyn's performance as Mr. Lefevre. Another big supporting character in this show is Frank. He is Sasha's uncle, and um, the way the story kind of plays his arc is it's the setup in it's the setup the what's the word I'm looking for here? So it's to inform you that her uncle would move heaven and earth for his niece Sasha, um, even if it means that he has to break the laws. All right, I'm not gonna spill the details on that. You'll have to watch it for yourself. Um, so there'll be moments when you empathize with Frank, but there'll be moments when you want to judge him because some of the choices he makes, even if it's for the sake or the safety of Sasha, some of those choices are questionable at best and just plain wrong at worst. So um, that's another also a very important character in this show. Now, before I give you my overall thought about it, now here's what I need to let you in on. In that the first 5 episodes of Chambers are really, really slow. It even some of the jump scares or some of the visions that Sasha has, some of these weird dreams that, because she has Becky's heart and it's like, oh my God, what is this thing that I'm seeing? These are Becky's memories, and some of the ways those things are executed are fine, while other times they could be more well staged, but the build up along the way while those jump scares happen, it just the show really takes its sweet damn time. I'm beginning to think that they should have just had 8 episodes instead of 10, because I think some of the stuff in the first 5 episodes could be trimmed down a bit or could be compressed, so as to not feel like it's drawn out. So I feel like this could have been a much more solid 8 episode series instead of 10 episodes. Um, episode 6 and up, episode 6 and up, that's when things start to pick up a little bit, because that's when Sasha and everybody around her that cares about her start to like, oh my god, this is not cool. So they start to piece or put the pieces together, trying to figure it out. Like, and they're trying to get to the bottom of the mystery. And so if you feel like the first 5 episodes, or you feel like you lose the first 5 episodes, kind of lose your interest or lose your attention, I just want to say that if you're patient enough, it'll things will pick up by episode 6. And as the layers get peeled more and more, um, it gets more and more intriguing, especially in the finale and in episode 10. So just want to give you a heads up that the first 5 episodes are really slow, but episode 6 and up, then's when you like, oh, you get more engaged. You're like trying to solve it with the characters. Like, whoa, what does that lead to? Like, what is that? So that's a heads up for you. Now, overall thought as I conclude this review, my criticism of Chambers is that it's not scary. It's not scary. Even the jump scares are not scary. Um, and I find that to be disappointing, mainly because Netflix previous horror series, The Haunting of Hill House, that show put me to sleep. That show really put me to sleep. I find The Haunting of Hill House to be absolutely boring. I apologize if you disagree with me, but that's what that's how I feel about the show. I hated the psychotherapy, psychiatric, talking to shrink scenes. It's just like, oh, come on, let's get it, move on already. That's how I feel about The Haunting of Hill House. Um, if you think that the first 5 episodes of Chambers are slow, The Haunting of Hill House is even much more of a slow burn. And I did not find it fun watching The Haunting of Hill House, and it did not scare me. I came in to watch horror movie or horror series like Haunting of Hill House expecting to get scared. Now, say what you want about The Curse of La Llorona that's currently in theaters. A lot of people gave it bad reviews, but say what you want, right? You can trash it all day long, but you can't deny the fact that the jump scares or the scare factors in The Curse of La Llorona are actually effective, mainly because the director and everybody involved applies the same method, the same approach, the same style that were already done and proven effective in the other Conjuring movies, The Conjuring and Annabelle. And despite The Curse of La Llorona being campy and occasionally clunky and poorly structured, um, it was scary fun. I had a lot of blast watching that movie. It's like, especially with a ton of audiences in theater, we went like, like like riding a roller coaster. We find ourselves surprised or scared at every turn. Um, so Chambers does not give you that, does not offer you that. Um, it's not as boring as The Haunting of Hill House, but it's still, overall, Chambers is not a scary experience. A scary watching experience. There you go. Um, but an argument could be made that that's not Chambers' objective. Chambers is a psychological horror. So it's not necessarily like the Curse of La Llorona, where the Curse of La Llorona's aim is to like jolt you. Um, Chambers is more of a thriller. So if, as I said, episode 6 and upward, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the show turns into a murder mystery thriller. Not who done it, but more like what happened to Becky. So episode 6 and up, Sasha, her boyfriend Frank, and even the Lefevres, they all try to figure out, like, because they by this point, episode 6, like they realize, as you've seen in the trailer too. So this is not a spoiler. Um, that the heart that used to belong to Becky now belongs to Sasha. Because of that transplant, it results in Sasha seeing things that Becky sees, or Becky used to see when she was alive. So these people by episode 6 have a sense of that is happening. I have a sense that, like, okay, turns out Becky is not really dead, and she's messing up, or she's messing with Sasha, because her heart is in Sasha's body. So because of that knowledge, by episode 6 and up, the characters are just trying to figure out, trying to get to the bottom of why or how the death happened, Becky's death happened, whether or not it's a murder. So what's the cause behind that? What's the reason for that? And then, of course, how to help Sasha, how to get Sasha apart, away from that without killing Sasha. All that becomes the sole focus from episode 6 and up. Murder mystery thriller. It may not even be murder, so it's just a mystery thriller. So if you are into that kind of stuff, if you are into problem solving, puzzle solving, putting the pieces together, trying to get the hints, like, oh, what if that character has to do with that, or what if that character has a hidden agenda and actually does this and this. If you are into that kind of stuff, then you will enjoy Chambers, specifically episode 6 and up. There's one episode that, if you ask me, hey Rama, what's the episode that's your favorite out of the season 1? I would say probably episode 8, without giving too much away. The reason is because, as I mentioned to you before many times, I'm a big fan of stories about rabbit holes. Alice in Wonderland, like going into this hallucination or state of mind where anything goes, or things are not what they appear to be, kind of like a dreamlike state. That's what episode 8 offers you, and and therefore that is my favorite episode. Now, to conclude, I give you one criticism, right? With regards to it not being scary. The other criticism, and it's a mild criticism. It's nothing big. I still recommend you go watch Chambers. All right. So this criticism is not saying like, hey, skip this one. No, I really want you to check out Chambers. It's a really interesting story. So, but the other criticism is that the show, or the writers of the show, set it up in a way where things are not fully solved at the end. All right. So they are in hopes that season 2 will happen. And I hate that, because we don't know if season 2 is going to happen. The show hasn't been renewed. And I think for shows like this, they have to come in with a mindset of limited series. Yes, they could probably set things up, a few things, to get you to want season 2, get you to call Netflix, hey, can you renew Chambers? Or tweet at Netflix. But there are too many of that. By episode 10, they're just left hanging, and I find that to be unsatisfying. Yeah, after like 8 to 9 hours binge watching this, I'm like, come on, I thought we were gonna get to the bottom of this, but we're only getting halfway. So I don't like that at all. I don't like that as a viewer and as a watcher, because you are putting that on the fate or the chance. Oh, we'll explore it further in season two. Like, what if it doesn't get renewed? And so that is one other criticism that I have about this show. I think, in addition to it not being scary, uh, as a I think Chambers works better as a mystery thriller than it is as a horror. But even as a mystery thriller, it it leaves your thirst unquenched, unfortunately. So, um, but as far as the writing goes, and the cinematic aspect of it goes, and the performance of the actors goes, I think as a show, this is still worth binge watching, if you do have 8 to 9 hours to spare, and if you are done with Avengers and watching Avengers Endgame for the fifth time, so you can definitely set some time to watch Chambers this weekend. I still highly recommend it, but just a heads up. Again, it's not gonna scare you the way Exorcist scares you. All right, uh, and some of your questions may not get to be answered fully by the end of the season one, and that's disheartening, and that's very disappointing. Unfortunately, because you're living it a chance. We don't know if the season two is gonna happen. They might as well have. They should have just like, hey, let's go all out. Let's go balls to the wall. For our audiences, we have an Oscar nominee like Uma Thurman here. Come on, let's give our all. So that part is oh man, I'm like, dude, why are you gonna hold that back from us? Really, really. Now I don't want to say more because again, it's spoiler filled. If I say more, this is a non-spoiler review. So check it out. It starts or it premieres tonight midnight on Netflix. If you have seen it, or by the time you've seen it, and you disagree with my assessment in this video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And I want to hear your thoughts about the show as well. All right. As always, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Press that like button, ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Enjoy watching Avengers Endgame in theaters twice, 3 times, 4 times, fifth time, many, many times. And then go watch Chambers, okay? Only on Netflix. Let's rock this.